I just finished Raising Kanan. First of all, I love Raising Kanan. I think the first season is excellent. I think the second season takes a little while to kind of get going, but eventually gets to a place that, you know, is really good, especially with the emotional work that they're doing with the men on the show. I always love that kind of stuff. Third season is the weakest season to me. One of the reasons I think the third season is the weakest is because the show is called Raising Kanan, but I am not invested in Kanan. The only reason that I am here is because I want to see how he is going to meet Ghost and Tommy. One of the reasons I'm not invested in him, and this is not his fault, but Patina Miller is just everything, and she is pulling focus as the protagonist for me. So obviously it's an ensemble show. Everybody has their own storylines, etc., but it's called Raising Kanan. So it's about Kanan. And it's also Kanan's life that brings us here, right? But because it is an ensemble show, we get to see all of the different points of view. Therefore, we know that his mother is that girl, does everything for him, and puts his needs even above her own sometimes. So the fact that he is so upset with her and believes that she would two-time him or that he can't trust her, etc., just makes him look like a brat. It just makes him look stupid. And it's like there is something there for tension, for us to know the truth and then him be slightly behind the truth, and us going, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Because he really believes that his mother is a terrible person. But he's way behind the truth. I also believe that they got to that point of contention in their relationship too early in the series for me, because it feels like it's dragging. Like he has no reason to feel this way about his mother at this point. With that being said, the time in the show is shorter than the time that we're watching it. Like there's space in between production, but in the actual series, he's still in high school. He hasn't even graduated from high school yet. Right? So it hasn't been that long, but watching it, it feels like, yo, he's still on this. He still thinks that she's a bad person. Why? Right? And so it just makes him feel like a brat. And so I'm just, you know, I'm not liking him. I'm not enjoying him. There's a lot of things that happen to Kanan in this season, and I want to be rooting for him. I want to be feeling just as down as he's feeling. Even when it comes to his mother, I want him to kill her. Because he's my protagonist. I should want what he wants, but I don't. Instead, I'm in her shoes and I'm looking at him like he's crazy. So the emotional work that they do with the men on season 2 is, if you notice, Marvin is a fuck up, but he's trying so hard. Like he wants to be a better person. So tough. So he ends up in a little bit of therapy in season 2. He has these moments with his daughter. Remember when he first finds out his daughter is gay, he reacts very negatively. He actually abuses her. But then over time, he becomes, you know, the biggest champion for her. And I just like that he is so flawed, but tries so hard. And he's not necessarily hard on himself, but he's decently self-aware. And so I love that about his character. And then Lou, on the other hand, last season, was going through realizing he's a monster and talking about what that has emotionally and mentally done to him. And then seeking help, but having all the people in his family kind of be like, what? Get over it. Until his big brother, Marvin, is like, I see you and I still love you and I got you. And it's like, oh my God. Like seeing that stuff with those men is great. Also, Raising Kanan season 3 was not working for me. Spoiler. Okay. Scroll away if you don't want to know. But Unique dies at the end of season 2. I did this because in the very last frame, we find out that he's alive. Okay. So in season 3, we pick back up with him being alive, but he was near, like this close to death, never went to an actual hospital. And so they try to play it that his mentality is going to be really different, really turned on his head. Like he's going to be a real monster because he had such a traumatic brain injury that sometimes people come out and they're not themselves and they're really bad people. Newsflash, Unique is already a bad person. He's not doing anything now that he wouldn't have done before. I think that they are leaning into he's a monster because of what happened to him. And I'm like, not buying it. I'm like, no, he's always been like that. It's not different. That's Unique. That's how he is. Then Lou. So as I told you in the last season, Lou basically steps away from the game because he feels like it's going to lead him to killing himself. And in this season, we're supposed to see him turn back towards the game. Now, again, spoiler alert, Fame dies. And that's supposed to be the thing that makes Lou get back into the game. That's what he's saying. He's saying Fame dying and me not being able to do anything about it, blah, 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 blah. I realize I'm for the streets. But that's not what we're seeing him actively do. What we're seeing him actively do is invest in some rapper he doesn't really even know for a company, a record label that he wasn't even looking to join, and then turning back to the game because of that rapper that he doesn't care about and we don't care about. And so to me, it just felt like too easy of a switch that was turned on versus had there been an emotional connection with Fame and him going out there and deciding to kill another person because of Fame, not because this random rapper, then I would have gone with it. Last but not least, Juke. They showed Juke enlisted in the army. And they literally have about 3 to 5 minutes screen time of her in the army. And then she quits because somebody else says something about someone gay. They're not even talking about her. They're talking about a man. They're not even talking about her. And she decides to quit. And because of that, she's now this trained killer who's decided she too is for the streets. And I just feel like the turn was too big. The turn was too big, too quick, and I don't buy it. Versus had they actually let her be in the army for some episodes, let her get mistreated by the people in the army because of her being a queer woman, and then her deciding to quit and coming back to the streets and realizing the world doesn't have anything to offer her because the world is always going to judge her, etc. But she actually really had time to become a trained killer a little bit, then I would believe that turn. So I just think they kind of moved quickly through a lot of the people's turns and tried to make us believe something without really giving us like real evidence. Not gonna stop me from watching next season because I enjoy the show. I enjoy the characters. Like, I'm in it at this point. The only way that I'm gonna leave is if it becomes really soapy, which the original Power did. Like after season 5, it became real soapy and I was out.
And that's it. Want more content? Like, subscribe, and for notifications. Get notes on your script that get you unstuck at www.theprofessionalpen.com. I'm out.